I just want you to know I love Jesus. I'm seeking to find him, be like him, and teach others to be like him. That's my goal. So, however you see me, may the Lord reward you accordingly to that gifting. But what I'm seeing in the Spirit, and I can bring it back to the Word and confirm it, so that's where I stand on some of the things I say. So, we have Canada fires, we have the Maui fires, and if you will go look at the 10 plagues, you will recognize this is one of the plagues. Now, I'm not saying God's bringing this plague. No, no, no. I've been teaching on the Mockingbird spirit because the enemy wants to be a counterfeit of the real God. And he does counterfeit motions. He does counterfeit events to replicate what God has done, to mock God. Okay, this is what Satan does. He's not a creative being. He is a copycat. He can manipulate, intimidate, and dominate, but he cannot create. He is not a creative being. Mankind was created in God's image to be creative. He is not. He's a manipulator. He's a witchcraft doctor. And so what he, in my opinion, has been doing has been copying the 10 plagues of Egypt and sending them back out as a mock at God for doing what he did to Egypt. And when I look at these, I can see that the hail and fire that was sent from heaven was replicated. Now, the Egyptian goddess, I think it's N-U-T, and I'm not sure if they say Nut or not, but that's the Egyptian goddess of the air waves kind of thing, in which we would know Ephesians 6 talks about the principalities and the powers of the air. Just like Jesus said, he's the prince of this world. So we know this is part of the enemy's playground. Okay, I personally think there is foul play in both of those fires. Absolutely 100% think it's demonically being produced. And I think the supernatural's involved, but I also think the natural's involved. I think there might be some things which I have seen in my spirit as I watch some of these videos of the events. They look very similar to what I've seen in my spirit. So I'm like, yep, that's what I saw a few months ago, and it came to pass. And this has happened several times. Now, I write these things down. I have dates to them and everything. And so I feel a little bit more, I know I'm on target with what's happening. Several months ago, I saw something happening up in New York area. Like it was underwater, and sure enough, the floods came. And so I've been having this for a long time. And even before COVID came, the Lord spoke to my heart that the storm was coming. And sure enough, it's still here. But that was the beginning of the storm. And what's interesting is that fire, the hail and fire that was sent, destroyed everything except the wheat. So there was a little left over for them to have food. But what was destroyed was the grains they used for clothing in Egypt. And it made them very uncomfortable, which I told you there is a stronghold over America of ungratefulness, inconvenience, and uncomfortability. These three demons, these three strongholds are huge in America. We don't like being uncomfortable. We're usually ungrateful, and we don't like to be inconvenienced. Now, I keep getting the word and seeing Ohio, like the Ohio Valley area, Ohio. And I look at the next plague that God had allowed to confront the God of storms is the next one, which is the locusts. And that's the Egyptian god. I think it's Seth, the god of storms and disorder. And that God confronts these demigods in the plagues. So this is like the 9th plague. And then the 10th plague is darkness, or 9th plague's darkness in the firstborn. There's darkness over and that people have been talking about the 3 days of darkness. Do I believe in the 3 days of darkness? That three days of darkness has been fulfilled twice already. Egypt, the cross, which is Jesus' death. We're coming into a time that's going to happen. But Isaiah 60 says that darkness, although it grows on the face of the people and over the inhabitants of the earth, it says God's light, his glory, rises upon his own people, guys. So, backing up to what's coming, I want us to pray, because that next plague, if I'm following this correctly, that the enemy's copycatting, mimicking God, does come, that these locusts do come to destroy the food chain. So my thought, which I've been seeing, is like we're going to have a very strenuous economic thing happen in the near future. This is what I'm seeing. And I've been pretty right so far, and I don't, unlike most prophets, I'd rather be wrong, because I don't want bad things to happen to America. I don't want bad things to happen to God's people. When Moses was told by the Lord, hey, I want to destroy Israel for what they just did, he says, no, please don't do that. See, a true prophet wants to intercede against the words of judgment. He wants God's mercy to prevail, not God's judgment. So when I say these things to you, I'd rather be wrong. I'd rather intercede and see that God would not allow the enemy to come in and torment America with the food supply issue, with this next thing. Because it's going to be something that happens that I think the enemy has, how do I put it? So world rulers in Ephesians 6, got a jet going over me. World rulers in Ephesians 6 are demon-possessed men and women in the world system, okay? These are world rulers. Ephesians 6 talks about world rulers. They're demon-possessed people. Okay. They're used by the enemy, and people right now are calling the elitists. Yes, but they are the devil's elitist. They're not the world's elitist. They're the devil's elitist. And they are used, and they use the world systems and all the technologies to do the devil's will. Okay? Now, what happened in Kentucky with the Ohio Valley and the Mississippi and all that stuff with the spilling of the train and the water was polluted, that was one of the plagues. I'm watching this happen. You guys can see it too. They're very obvious if you just slow down of what's going on. And so I do think there is, the enemy is wanting to disrupt the food chain. Oh, what about the blood in the water? I think there's a lot of significance and attack on blood, right? Which we would know is the, yeah, you know, what happened through 2020 through 2022. So I don't think we have to be caught unaware with what the Lord is showing us and what the enemy's doing. I think we can pray some things away, okay? So I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen in that area, but the Midwest, and I see the word Ohio several times. I don't know if it's a technology issue or if it's a literal grain issue, but something that's coming out of Ohio that will be revealed. But we also need to pray that it doesn't become destructive to what... This is our land, guys. We don't have to tolerate him. Like, when I give you this word, do something with it. Like, no, you know what, Lord? I hate the devil. I hope you hate him. He hates you. The best thing you can do is live a humble life, repent when you make a wrong, and pray for God to change you, and pray for others. Just that same. Keep it simple.